The great hall of Crystalhaven had been transformed for the engagement ceremony. Sunlight poured through high, arched windows, catching on banners of green and silver leaves intertwined with crimson and gold flames. Tables groaned under platters of roasted venison, honeyed fruits, and spiced wine. Musicians played soft melodies on harps and bone flutes, but the notes felt hollow, as though even the music understood the lie being celebrated. King Aaron stood at the head of the dais beside King Valtor. Queen Isolde and Queen Ilara flanked them, faces composed though their eyes betrayed quiet sorrow. General Varric stood at attention near the doors, obsidian eyes scanning every face. Princess Lirael waited at the center, dressed in Sylvandar green silk embroidered with silver vines. The betrothal ring, a heavy band of white gold set with an emerald, the color of her eyes felt like lead on her finger. Draven approached in black and gold, every step calculated. He stopped before her, took her hand, and raised it to his lips with theatrical grace. "Princess Lirael," he said, voice carrying to the far corners of the hall. "Today we bind two kingdoms. Today you become mine." The crowd applauded. Cheers rose from both delegations. Lirael kept her smile fixed, perfect, practiced, empty. Draven leaned in, lips brushing her ear. "You'll be the jewel in my crown," he whispered, voice low enough for only her to hear, edged with a private sneer. Lirael met his gaze without flinching. "Love is not a conquest," she answered, equally soft, equally cold. Draven's smile tightened, but he released her hand and turned to the assembly, raising both arms. "To the future queen,
of Sylvandar and Aetherion, may your
and
reign bring
Sylvandar."
unity and prosperity.
The hall roared again. Kael stood near the side entrance, half hidden by a marble pillar. His face was stone. His hands were clenched so tightly the knuckles showed white. When the cheers peaked, he slipped out through a side door and vanished into the corridors. Lirael endured the toasts, the congratulations, the forced smiles. When the banquet finally ended and the guests began to disperse, she excused herself quietly. No one questioned a bride needing a moment alone. He found Kael in the upper gardens, the same hidden alcove where they had almost kissed under moonlight weeks before. Now the vines seemed darker, heavier, as though the night itself mourned what was coming. He stood with his back to her, staring out at the waterfalls that glittered silver under the stars. His shoulders were rigid, every line of him taut with restrained fury. "Kael." He turned slowly. His storm-gray eyes were dark, with pain he could not hide. "You said yes."
I had no choice.
"I had no choice."
You always have a choice.
He stepped closer. "You always have a choice. Not when the realm hangs in the balance." Her voice cracked on the last word. "My father made it clear. Refuse. And Sylvandar stands alone against the shadows gathering at our borders. Accept, and we gain Aetherian's strength. The marauders, the wraiths. The cost is only my heart." Kael reached out, hesitated, then gently took her hand, the one wearing the ring. He turned it over, studying the emerald, as though it were poison. "This ring feels like chains," she whispered. He looked up, their eyes locked. "You feel like freedom." The words hung between them. Neither moved for a long moment. Then Lirael stepped forward and rested her forehead against his chest. Kael's arms came around her slowly, carefully, as though she might shatter. He held her, like she was the only thing keeping him upright. "I would burn this palace down to keep you from him," he said against her hair. "I know." Her voice was muffled against his tunic. "But you won't, because you are honorable. And honor is what I love most about you." He pulled back just enough to look at her. "Then what do we do?" She shook her head. "We endure. We wait. We find a way to break the chains without breaking the kingdoms." Kael cupped her face. "I will not watch you marry him. You may have to." The words were a knife. He closed his eyes, breathing hard. "Then I will stand at your side, through every vow, every night, every lie. And when the moment comes, I will be the one who ends it." Lirael rose on her toes and kissed him soft, slow, desperate. It was not the wild storm kiss in the wilds. This was quieter, deeper, a promise sealed in silence. When they parted, she pressed something into his hand, a small silver leaf pendant on a thin chain. "Wear this," she said. "So you remember, I am yours,
I'm always yours.
even when the world tries to make me
No
his."
one can break us apart.
Kael slipped the chain over his head, The leaf rested against his heart. I will never forget. She stepped back. Go, before someone sees. He lingered a moment longer, then turned and walked away into the shadows. Lirael remained in the alcove until the stars began to fade, the ring on her finger heavier than ever. In Stormforge, deep within the palace's private wing, Draven stood alone before a tall mirror framed in blackened iron. The chamber was lit only by a single brazier of blue flame. Shadows danced across his face. He had removed his tunic. The false rune on his back glowed faintly in the dim light. Perfect, convincing, a masterpiece of deception. He stared at it for a long time. Then, almost absently, he traced the swirling lines with one finger. I wore his destiny so long. His voice was soft, broken, barely above a whisper. I almost believed it was mine. The reflection stared back, handsome, cold, empty. For a heartbeat, something cracked behind his eyes. Regret, perhaps, or the ghost of a boy who had once dreamed of something other than power. Then, the crack sealed. He straightened. His expression hardened into the mask he had perfected. But belief is a luxury I can no longer afford. He pulled on a fresh tunic, covering the mark. The mirror showed only the prince again, confident, untouchable, ready. He turned toward the door. Outside, the storm over Stormforge continued to rage. Granny Willow moved through Stormforge like smoke. She had come alone, cloaked in shadows and the small magics of the wild's glamours that bent light. Footsteps that made no sound. The palace was vast, its corridors guarded by men and wards, but Granny Willow had walked older paths than these. She knew the scent of dark alchemy. It pulled her like a thread through the labyrinthine lower levels. Malakar's private laboratory lay behind a door, sealed with 3 runes of binding. Granny Willow placed her gnarled hand against the stone. She whispered words older than the Empire words of root and earth and patience.
And reveal the path.
The runes flickered, then dimmed. The door side open. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of sulfur and crushed herbs. Shelves lined the walls. Vials of black liquid. Jars of powdered bone. Books bound in skin. A long table held alchemical apparatus, glass tubes, copper stills, a mortar stained crimson. Granny Willow moved quickly. She found the vial she sought almost immediately. A small crystal phial stoppered with obsidian, containing a shimmering silver liquid that moved like mercury. The label was written in Malakar's precise hand. False flame, permanent fixative. She slipped the vial into a hidden pocket beneath her cloak. Before she left, she paused at the workbench. A single sheet of parchment lay open notes on the rune's replication, crossed references to ancient texts, a sketch of a man's back with the flame mark circled. Granny Willow's milky eyes narrowed. She took the parchment too. Then she slipped out, sealing the door behind her with the same whispered words. The wards reignited as though nothing had happened. She vanished into the night, heading back toward the Whispering Wilds. In Crystal Haven, Kael stood watch outside Lirael's chambers, long after the palace had gone quiet. The silver leaf pendant rested against his skin, warm from his body heat. Across the border, in Stormforge, Malakar returned to his laboratory at dawn. He noticed nothing amiss at first. Then, he saw the empty space on the shelf. His hand froze mid-motion. A slow, dangerous smile curled his lips. So, he murmured to the empty room, someone has come looking for truth. He turned toward the window. Lightning flashed, illuminating the cruel curve of his mouth. The veils of deception were beginning to thin, and when they tore, blood would follow.